It's one thing to put a single light up and get an exposure. It's another thing to craft a shot. In this video, we're going to talk about lighting in zones and how this will help elevate your work. I'm Daniel Norton, shooting for PPA. Let's get to it. All right, I'm here in my studio in New York City with Marissa, and we're going to walk through lighting in zones. This is going to help us craft our shots exactly the way we want it. It's going to give us better control, and we're really going to be able to light any person exactly the way we want it once we understand zone lighting. So step in. She was pretty much already there, and let's do this. All right, so effectively what zone lighting means is that we're going to place our lights in groups, as it would be. Some of these groups will have a single light, some will have multiple lights, and these groups will all cover your kind of classic three-point lighting. Our key light, if you want a fill light, though we're not going to use one today, a separation light, and a background light. We're going to talk about why this is important for getting the background the way you want it as we go through this, but let's start with the key light. That's the key. All right, here I have my Shimura extra small. I'm using a smallish bank because I'm shooting just a head and shoulder headshot. I want to control the light. I don't want it to spill everywhere. We often talk about light control using things like grids and stuff. That's why you do it. I mean, sure, a grid makes you look cooler, but in reality, a grid is for putting the light where you want it. With this small box, I'm not really going to need it here, but even though I have this white studio where everything's going to bounce around, we should be able to get Marissa effectively in a black space with one light. Let's just see how this looks. I'm in TTL. This is in group A. I'm going to turn it on. The other groups are off currently, and I'm just going to line it up and take a shot here. We're in capture one, and we can see that, right, the background has a little bit of light on it because I have white floors, it's bouncing around, but generally speaking, she's separated, right? This light is not really lighting our background, which gives us much more control over the density of light on the background. If you wanted a dark gray background, you're done, but we don't. Second, if we want to separate her from this darkness, we can do a separation light. This is in my beauty dish in the back. I chose the beauty dish for this because it's got a grid on it, and the grid's going to help me really place the light where I want it. Again, I'm trying to keep the light from bouncing around everywhere. All right, so that's in my B group. I'm going to turn off the A light just so I can show you guys how this stuff works one at a time. And we're going to frame this up, and we should get a nice little rim light across the side of her face. Nice and simple. This is what we want, right? It's going to be a little bit brighter here. I'm not dealing with my exposure yet. I'm just showing you how we're working this. We're going to bring the exposures back in a second. Now let's talk about the background. Our background we have lit in kind of a different way. We've got two V-flats, okay? There's a light inside each one. They're bouncing off and lighting the wall. This is going to make the light even on the wall, but also the V-flats act as flags, so none of that light comes forward. So let's just turn on our background lights. All right, again, I'm in TTL, so it's probably going to be grayish, but we'll see. Yeah, grayish white. If you hire a photographer and this is the white background they give you, no, I won't go there. But anyways, it's not quite white. That's fine, because TTL isn't going to give you a white background, right? It's looking for gray. But because we can see she's more or less a silhouette here, again, none of that light's really coming forward and hitting her. What we're mostly getting is some bounce off the ceiling and a little bounce off the floor. If we want to control that a little more, we could throw like a black card on the floor or something, but let's just build. So starting with the background, let's get it white. Simple way to do this is to use a light meter. No, but if I don't have one, a simple way to do this from this setup is to grab my capture one, my adjustments, grab my slider, bring it up until the background appears to be white. I know she's also getting brighter. And you know, in the corners, sometimes you're going to get a bit of darkness, but you know, overall white. I'm not going for crazy super commercial white. That's probably pretty good. We're looking at almost a little more than 3 stops. So I take my light and I'm going to, from the TTL exposure, I'm going to switch to manual and I'm going to raise it 3 stops. We'll take another shot. There we go. We can see some of this light's actually bouncing back. We might need to throw a card on the floor. Now, let's do our separation light. So I'm going to take my C light, turn it off. Actually, I'll do the key light next. Bring the key light on, switch to TTL, get this in place. All right, I'll take a look at that. Exposure-wise, that looks pretty good. TTL is always good with the key light. That looks pretty good. We'll leave that where it is. Let's bring the background light back in. So I'm going to go to manual again. Again, I'm just using the controller on top of my camera to turn lights on and off that are in different groups. A, B, C as we go back. So this is now just the foreground light with the key light as it would be and the background. And we've got this nice, bright, clean, right? And now if we want to give that little extra kick with the separator light, let's bring that guy in. Again, I'm in manual. The simplest way to do this at this point, remember, we already took a shot in TTL, so it's locked in. With ProPhoto lights, when you switch from TTL to manual, the exposure stays where it was. So I'm gonna turn my B light on. We're just gonna take a shot and then we'll make a manual adjustment. Okay. You notice how with all the other light going on, this doesn't look quite as bright, right? So actually, yeah, that's actually pretty perfect. No adjustment needed. Done. Okay, so we have that. Let's tweak this. That's level 1, right? And that's already 10 levels above your average person just throwing the lights up. We've got some control here. We know I'm not going to put black paper on the ceiling. I don't have a ladder, but we can throw a black card on the ground and try to kill a little bit of that kickback. So let's have this V-flat. I got a V-flat sitting over here, just like everybody does. Doing it Joe McNally style. All right. Okay, yep, there we go. Again, haven't changed any exposures. I'm in manual. Okay, nice. That might actually be a little hot on that light, depending on how you turn your head, so I will adjust that a little bit. That looks pretty good, but of course what I wanted to actually show you was just the background lights. So let's kill the separation light. Let's kill the head. Okay, so this is just the background lights now. Remember there was so much light kicking forward? This should eliminate some of it. Yeah, definitely. So again, there's some coming forward, but it's not nearly what it was. Yeah, we can see the difference. See, difference. And the B light is a little bit bright. So let's get everything back on. And the beauty of this really is that, sure, this seems like it's taking a minute because I'm teaching it to you, but once you have it down, this is fast and it'll give us so much control. So anyways, I'm getting my B light in place. Let's do a couple of shots here. Okay, now we've got that little kicker light going on. That exposure looks good to me. I like it a little bit hot. If you don't like it that hot, you can turn it down. All this is up to you. It's also going to matter depending on the subject, their, if they were in makeup or not, their skin tone, what angle their face is to the light, all that affects this. So even though we're having these lights set up and because we're in manual, you're going to want to keep watching it as you go. It shouldn't have to change, but just be wary of that. But let's say we don't want a bright white background. Let's say we want to tone it down a little bit. Because again, we're in zones and it's all separate, I can just jump to my C lights and let's say drop them a stop. Okay, it's a little bit grayer. Let's see. Look, it's good. Here we go. There we go. So now it's not that quite commercial white. It's white, but it's not like, ooh, right? And we can go even more. It was about 3 stops over, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So if we drop it down another couple. And again, I'm just making changes at my camera. We're in manual. Oh, that's kind of nice, actually. Come this way a little bit. You came off my frame. There we go. Come a little bit this way. Right there, perfect. Yeah. Now, we've got this grayish background. And over here, we have this like halo of light coming around her. I'm going to go a little bit wider with my shot. Look that way again. Reach it out a tiny bit. Okay, good. All right, here we go. Nice. There we go. Now we've got what is effectively a quasi beauty light on her face. We've got this kind of nice gray background, and we've got this like little smack of light coming from the back. If you wanted more control of her hair, it's flying away a little bit, you just, comb her hair or whatever. But That's one of the things about having separation light, right? But let's say that you love the separation light when she's looking at the camera, but that's too much. You can just turn that off, right? I could quickly just jump up here and just turn that off and take the same shot. And again, that's the beauty of shooting in zones. I can turn off any of these lights. We can kill the background as well and bring ourselves down to that, right? We can go all the ways from a dark background to a white background like this. You have a client in there that wants one dark, one white, you're done. They want to have a color on it, like a color gel and a black, you could do that. You could also put multiple lights back there. So I could have a light with a color gel and one without and switch that back and forth. This is never ending. You can do whatever you like with this. And the beauty of this is, again, you set up a little bit at the beginning of the day, but when you've got to shoot 30 or 40 portraits in a row, this is ideal. Everything is controlled. So as I mentioned right at the very beginning of the video, putting one simple light up and getting a light on somebody is step one, right? That's just, I'm now controlling my light. I'm a photographer, right? Step two is learning how to place your lights and working in zones so you can truly control it. Give yourself options, give yourself control of the light. Not just this is the right exposure, but this is the right exposure where I want it, anytime I want it. So thanks, Marissa. You can find links to Marissa in the description below, as well as me. Go ahead and make a comment below. Let me know, do you shoot like this? How do you normally shoot your 3-point lighting? Are you using background lights? Are you using separation lights? Do you just put up a giant light and cover the whole thing with a 3-foot octa? Why not, right? Lots of ways to light. This is just one more of them. I hope this was helpful. Let me know, and I'll talk to you soon.